reframing retirement in a way that is exciting and makes us want to take action is key. Les, Matthew, so excited to have you both here today in 40 Leadenhall, our 900,000 square foot office building, owned by PruFund, our flagship multi-asset fund range, and a great example of actually how our pension savers' money is being put to work. Before we jump in about the really huge conversation that we're going to have today, let's do introductions. Les, would you like to go first?
Hi, I'm Les Cameron. I'm head of the technical team at M&G. The team and I are retirement savings experts. Our main job is supporting the business, the different areas of the business, helping them understand the complexities so they can simplify it for going out to our customers and clients.
Perfect. Matthew?
Yeah, I'm Matthew Ings. I head our Advice Academy, and we recruit, train and develop the next generation of financial advisors.
Brilliant. And I'm Amy, investment specialist, and I work in the Life Investment Office, who is the 80-strong team ultimately responsible for managing all of our pension customers' money. And today we're going to talk about M&G's Reframing Retirement campaign, of which includes the proposed pensions health check, of which we believe can be a real door opener to financial advice. Today is all about making retirement feel more accessible, less intimidating, and actually getting people excited talking about it. At M&G, we refer to it as Reframing Retirement. Matthew, I don't know if you can provide a bit of insight into what we actually mean by Reframing Retirement.
Yeah, I think we need a bit of a shift change. At the moment, when people think of retirement, it's uninspiring. Clients don't engage, people don't engage, and there's actually quite low confidence in pensions, which is leading to a bit of a retirement savings crisis. And reframing retirement is about reframing and changing the lens through which we look at retirement. Instead of it being a fixed point in time or a fixed number that we aim for, it's about thinking that retirement can be what you want it to be. You know, it's 10, 20, 30, 40 years even, and it's a bit of a blank canvas, but people have to own what their retirement looks like and then take stock and plan to achieve that retirement. And this Reframing Retirement campaign is just about that shift change from a fixed date or time to something more long-term and enjoyable for clients when they get there.
Definitely. Les, I don't know if there's anything you would add on that front.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt there's a retirement savings crisis in the UK. It's been here for many years, over a decade. There's estimated to be 15 million people under saving for retirement. And I think part of that is it can be quite complex, so people want to put it off. But the key thing is actually making a start, getting somebody, whether it's advice or guidance, to demystify things and get you going. And I think the pension dashboard will be a help with that.
Definitely. I think being able to see all of your pensions in one place is like such a brilliant step forward. Les, you work with clients and advisors on a regular basis. How big is the impact of this?
I think the pension dashboard will have a big impact on advice. It should make things more efficient for advisors. You don't need your client to go and rake about their drawers to find their paperwork if everything's on the dashboard. The state pension is going to be in there as well, so that's good, because that's a key foundation. Because with financial planning, you have to understand what you've got so you can plan to get to what you need. And having all that information is a really good start to working out what you've got. Then someone can help you get to what you need or what you want for the future.
As a follow-on from the pension dashboard, M&G are proposing what we call a pensions health check. And that's very much when you look at all your numbers and all of your pensions, actually, what can you do now? Are you on track? What actions can you take? I don't know, Matthew, if you can provide a bit more insight in terms of how M&G's pensions health check actually works in reality.
I think this is the game changer part, right? So pensions dashboard's a starting point, as I've said. The health check's a game changer. It will allow people to understand the small actionable steps that they can take in that moment to progress themselves towards the retirement that they want, whether that's contacting their employer to ensure they maximise their employer contributions, whether it's paying more money in themselves, or indeed whether it sends them towards an advisor for guidance or full financial advice. I think that's the action. And what we've said with the pensions health check is people need to take interest first, then take control, and then take action.
Definitely. And I think this interest part is really interesting in terms of the Reframing Retirement campaign that we have at M&G, and making retirement feel like something that people want to talk about, that they want to engage with. I don't know if Les, in terms of that kind of pension health check element that M&G are bringing in, if there's anything you would add?
It's like Matthew said. I mean, the pension dashboard is going to be a good start knowing what you've got. And then as you go through your life, it'll give you an up-to-date value of where you've got to so far. So I think what the pension health check does is just set that expectation of where am I currently? And there used to be a general rule of thumb. If you started your pension saving at 30, you should pay 15% of your salary. If you started at 40, you should pay 20%. But I think the retirement model's moved on a bit from that, and it's more about the lifestyle you want in retirement and the income you need to support that. And people will need a clear, actionable plan to get from what they've got to where they want to be in retirement. And I think that's where the health check can help. It gives them an idea of where they're likely to be, and then based their circumstances, guide them down the right partner to do those actions, whether that's guidance or advice or a mixture of both.
I think if I could just add to that as well, that's a great first step. The other part of it, which is going to be really important, is that it's then regularly reviewed. Life changes, right? Things change. And actually, it's really important that the plans put in place today may not be fit in a year, 2-3 years' time. So actually, it's the ongoing regular review that will also play a key part in delivering the outcomes that people want.
And again, the dashboard will keep you up to date where you are.
Yeah, there's so many parts of our lives, right, that we have regular check-ins to: health, dentist, our car MOT. It's crazy to me that we don't have that in terms of our financial future. So this is such a brilliant initiative that we're bringing in.
It should be on your calendar every year, shouldn't
Agreed.
it, at the end of the day?
Agreed.
We're going to be retired for 30 or 40 years potentially, so it should be on there. It's something that people should, like I said, take an interest in and take seriously. And if they do that, then they can have the retirement that they want.
And I guess from a client's perspective, either one of you, how much of a difference do you think this is going to have on them?
I think it'll have a big difference. At the end of the day, the dashboard is a good starting point. It will have, as Les says, all of the information in one go. However, one of the challenges, and this is where the health check comes in, one of the challenges is data in itself doesn't drive action. It doesn't drive people to do something with it. We're surrounded by data. It's everywhere. So actually in itself, it won't solve the problems, but it is a good first step. So I think it will help. It's the start of the journey, not the end of it.
Can you explain a little bit more about how it will actually work in practice?
So yeah, when somebody starts a new role, what we want is the employer to encourage them to log into the dashboard and the health check. Hopefully they should be automatically enrolled into the employer's scheme, but we know this isn't necessarily enough. So it's really important that the employer nudges them. They go onto the dashboard, first of all, to see what pensions they've got. So their new current employer's pension, their state pension, and any other personal pensions, but then move into the health check, which is more personalised and more tailored, so they can understand whether they are on track for the retirement that they want. And if they feel they need to take that forward, there should be a button to click to take them through to get some specialist advice to ensure that their personal journey is something they're still on track for.
Yeah, and I think if you join your employer's scheme, you've almost certainly done the right thing. But I don't think you should assume it's the right thing for you totally.
Yeah.
Because your auto-enrollment contributions will only get you so far. You're still going to have value in a health check by understanding how far that is and whether it's far enough for you, or you might have to do something else extra just to get you a little bit further. So absolutely, joining your employer's scheme is almost always the right thing to do, but don't assume that's enough. Get some tailored advice to get to where you want to be, not where your standard employer contributions get you.
Brilliant, and that's exactly where that pensions health check comes in. I often find that a lot of pension advice can be quite generic, but with the pension health check, this can probably overcome that.
Yeah, I think you're right. There is quite a lot of retirement planning advice that's fairly generic. And if you think about it, you've got a wide range of different types of people at different ages, 20-year-olds, 50-year-olds, people that are employed, people that are self-employed. So I think with the dashboard, bringing the dashboard back into it, you might have a 20-year-old or a 25-year-old that's only got one pension on there. Or you could have a 45-year-old who's maybe had 7 or 8 different jobs and they've got 7 or 8 different pensions there. And the pension health check is getting that life stage, whether it's first job, second job, or starting to think about retiring. It's getting something a bit more tailored and specific to circumstances so people can say, yes, that's me, and know what the actions they're going to take are.
Yeah, that's a really nice point. I think if something felt like it was for me, I would definitely be more likely to take action from it.
And I think that's where advisors play a really important part in this as well. Ultimately, advisors having a deep and meaningful conversation with clients to really understand what the clients want and bring that to life means that the advice they give is not just tailored but personalized to that individual. So that's really important. And one of the things we see through the academy is the people that come into our academy from all walks of life bring with them a richness of conversation and a huge variety of backgrounds, which enables them to have better conversations with their clients. So I think that's another potential positive that will come out of it.
Definitely. When we talk about reframing retirement and making it feel more exciting, and when you think about retirement, thinking about holidays and freedom and all those nice things, I definitely think that starts, or at least is, the responsibility of the advice business and the sector. Do you feel like we have a bit of a responsibility, Matthew, to support our advisors to put retirement in such a more positive light?
Absolutely, yeah. I think we've got an opportunity here to lead the way. Not only we should frame it as something that's important, but something that's exciting and something that should be looked forward to and therefore to be planned for. But the key is in equipping our advisors to have really good conversations. One of the questions that our advisors ask is to ask clients what their parents' retirement was like. That's really insightful, and it brings out a richness of conversation that then helps the clients understand what it is they do and don't want from retirement, and really drills home to them, the action that they should take. So yeah, we should lead by example, and I think that's a really great opportunity for our advisors.
Yeah, and I think people see retirement as something in the future, but I think what they have to understand is deciding to put things off. You're actually making a decision about your future. You're deciding maybe you'll have to work longer because you haven't saved for as long, or you'll retire with less of a fund value or an income than you otherwise could have had. So I think it's important for people to associate their current actions with what retirement looks like, because doing nothing is a decision that will have an impact when you retire, the same way as doing something has an impact when you retire.
Definitely. I mean, I'm 28, and I think that a lot of people my age or in my generation often think that that's a future me problem, and we have quite a enjoy the now mentality. And I think when people think about saving for their retirement, they think that that comes at the expense of enjoying today. But we know more than anything, with compounding, the earlier you start thinking about retirement, the better, right? And the earlier you start, the easier it is to be able to do both.
It's quite simple. £100 a month for 40 years gives you more money than £100 a month for 10 years.
Yeah, we could get into compounding all day, I think.
I think the best time to start investing in a pension is the day you join a company, and the second best day is today. It's one of those. So I think it's very much about taking action now, but also getting the balance right. Life is to be lived, right? You don't want to not do anything now, and it's a balance between what you can afford to invest now versus what you want to enjoy life with now. So balance is key.
And there's also understanding the decision. If you don't pay into your employer scheme, you could be giving up free money, because most of the time your employer will match it. So not paying for future self when somebody else is chipping in alongside you can be a really expensive mistake to make.
Definitely. And it's these small actions that you could quite literally do on your lunch break, right? Like check how much you're contributing to your pension. If you're maxing out those matching contributions, that will make such a huge difference over the long term.
I had an advisor say to me the other day, your future self is pleading with you to take it seriously now. And I thought that was quite a good way to look at it.
Yeah, that is a really nice way.
The earlier you start, the longer you have, the more options you've got, and the greater the ability is to save more money.
Yeah.
But
you mentioned, Les, there about ensuring you're maxing out those contributions that your employer might match. Is there any other things from both of you that you think people could do? Small habits, small changes?
I mean, I'll start, if I may. I think one of the most important things is a budget planner. It's really basic, but actually understand at a personal level or household level what money you have coming in that you have to spend, what's discretionary and what you have surplus. And then, and this isn't advice, but as a rule of thumb, a third of your surplus, enjoy and live now with, a third you save for a medium term, and the third you save as a long term. That's not a bad starting point, but understanding your budget is really important.
You have to make a decision of where you're going to spend your money. So once you know where you're spending the money, you can, because a lot of financial planning is trade-offs.
Exactly.
The £10 not getting spent this month instead of X is worth the money in the future, the employer matching it for me or whatever it may be. But knowing you've got surplus, but we have to live in the real world as well of there's a cost of living crisis, but there's probably things in people's expenditure that could be spent more wisely. I've got a story of a boy I used to play rugby with. He came in from his very first week working, and his dad was there with his financial advisor, and he said, "You've started earning now, you need to start saving." because you're going to stop working at some point. And this was an 18-year-old guy just in from his first day at work, but he started the habit, and habits tend to just keep going without too much thought. So sooner you start, the more money you'll have.
Definitely, I totally agree. And we've mentioned M&G's pension health check as being kind of opening up that more people taking action, but I also see it as potentially a way to opening up financial advice. Matthew, you obviously have a lot to do with the academy. But what I also find is that people probably have a bit of a perception with financial advice that millions of people that could benefit from advice are not getting it. And the reason for that is that people often don't think it's for them. It's for something way later on in life or for the extremely wealthy. Thoughts? Is it down to us to change that perception?
I think there has to be a perception change that advice is just for the high net worth. If advice was just for the high net worth, there would be enough advisors in Britain to deal with that, because the majority of people aren't high net worth. But common garden, run-of-the-mill people, average families with average lives could all benefit from advice, and that's where the gap is. It's not high net worth. It's just the next set down. Ordinary families with ordinary lives, with ordinary goals. Advice will help them meet it better. But I suppose Matthew can speak about the advice side a bit more.
Absolutely, and that's where the academy at M&G, we're playing our part in trying to close that advice gap. You know, we take on people into our academy from all sorts of backgrounds. You know, we've got a business owner, police officer, school teacher, ex-professional footballer, you know, almost you name it in terms of a background. We've had somebody come into our academy and thrive because it's all about people, it's people skills, and actually that's the real driver for it. Yes, the technical side of the role is important, but actually it's secondary to can you build a relationship and can you relate to the people that you're speaking to? And by doing that, then you can speak to people no matter what their personal circumstances and help them, you know, on the journey that they're on.
Definitely. There's so much coming, right? We've got the pensions dashboard, the pensions health check, opening up advice to more people. What I would say as well, though, is that we're obviously talking about a lot of things that you could do or that you should do, but I definitely don't want people to feel regretful that they haven't done anything up till now, or that they maybe feel like, oh, Amy, Les, Matthew, I can't put more into my pension, or I can't afford to save more for my retirement. There's so much going on at the moment in terms of cost of living, inflation, supporting families, and people want to look after their family now rather than having to think too much into the future, which is completely understandable. I read something the other day as well about parents having to look after their kids until around 26 years old and then being a financial commitment until then. I personally moved out at 26 as well. What does that actually mean in financial planning when people are having to think so much more about the now? What does it mean for retirement planning?
Well, I think as Les said, it's a trade-off. So the more you spend thinking and saving for the, or spending the now, if that's even a phrase, the less you're saving for future. So it is a trade-off, it is a balance. And life, you know, it's challenging, it's difficult. What you just said there about children staying in the family home till 26 resonates with me. I've got my 2 young adult children moving back in literally in the next month. You know, they'll be 21 and 19, and I see them staying with me and my wife for a few years yet. So I can absolutely see that journey ahead. The most important thing is to take interest in what that future looks like for you, because if you don't take that first step, then you're probably never going to save for it. Whereas if at the very least you take interest in it and start to think what it might look like, even if you can't do something today, perhaps the next time you get a pay rise or a promotion or change jobs, that may be the moment you start saving. So you're still taking steps, but just not necessarily straight away.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is just having visibility of what's going on, right? Even if you can't make any changes at the moment, understanding where you actually are in terms of your retirement.
Yeah, I think that's the key point. To make a decision, you need information. And there's a lot of information you need to decide where you're going to end up. You've got priorities today, whether it's helping with university or the kids are still at home at 26. But then you need to retire at some point, so you have to have a think about that. And then there's all the life events that could happen in between: births, deaths, marriages. You just have to have a starting point, at least knowing where you're going to be. You can decide whether you want to take action to make sure you're going to be somewhere else that's more suitable for you and more suitable for your family, because it's quite complicated when you think of all the different competing demands, and life is complicated.
Absolutely. And I think, coming back to the budget piece, when you analyse a budget, I looked recently at how much money I spend on coffee each month.
I
It's
dread to
quite a
think.
substantial amount, actually. So, personally, I look at that and think, well, actually, could some of that be diverted? Do I need to spend £5 a day on a coffee? Perhaps not. So actually diverting some of that into longer term savings has that, and it's a starting point, isn't it? So
£5 a day on a coffee, do it 4 days a week and save the other one. Yeah, you've started small acorns, large oaks grow.
excellent.
Yeah, this is definitely not about perfection, is it? It's just looking at little changes that you can make to help save towards your financial future.
And I think that's what the pensions health check is. It's actionable small steps. If you think a problem is too large, you're probably just going to avoid it. Whereas if you've got some small steps you can take, it's more likely that you'll take those steps. So yeah, absolutely. I'll try and move to 4 coffees a day.
What our research at M&G has found as well, that it's definitely not a lack of desire to learn about our personal finances. Actually, 70% of young people want to know more about their personal finance. Matthew, you mentioned you have 2 children. I don't know whether you have conversations about finance at home. Are they in that 30% that they already know?
I think they have a good knowledge of finance because of the job I've done. I've been in the profession for a long time, so we've always talked about money. So, in that regard, they're quite lucky that they can call on me, but also they're interested in it, which I can't force on them. But what is interesting is when they talk to their friends about money, which they do, there is that then disconnect. There is their friendship group doesn't perhaps know as much about money. So, but there is an interest in it. So I can absolutely see how that research has played through.
Definitely. I talk to my friends about, this is going to sound really sad now, but I do talk to my friends about pension and retirement because I work in the industry, and I'm always shocked at how little everyone knows. And this isn't to make anyone feel bad, it's actually just to highlight the scale of the problem. I don't know if, Les, you've got any thoughts?
I think there is a desire for younger people to understand more about their finances. They see things on social media, etc., etc. My daughter started her first job last year, and unprompted, she came up to me and said, "Dad, they're asking if I want to start my pension with them. Should I? But I can't get it until I'm 67 or whatever. Should I not just do an ISA instead? And what kind of ISA should I have and all this?" So it was good that she was actually engaged in making that decision.
She knew what an ISA was. That's good.
She knew what an ISA was. So she's essentially, because I've worked in the industry, I can give her the little nudges and the guidance and the things to think about and the trade-offs, so she can start to have a little think about, actually, if I put £1 in my pension and my employer puts in £1 as well, that's like half price.
Yep.
Yeah.
Free money.
So future me's going to be glad I got that extra £1 instead of just having the £1 I put in my ISA. So I think their children have been lucky enough to essentially get a health check, and that's made a difference to their financial lives. She's paying money into her pension, she's putting money into her ISA for her short and medium term goals and that sort of thing. So the whole population needs that, and that's where the health check would hit. I think your first job, you have a think about how you save, because if you start saving early, you don't miss your money.
Definitely.
It's just an expense that goes out every week. Yeah,
Creating
but it's
those
not
habits.
an expense, it's investing in your future.
Yeah.
People see it as spending money. It's not, you're investing for later.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned talking to your daughter about it as well, and I think that is key. We go and we talk to our friends, we talk to our family about all sorts, but we don't talk to them about our retirement or how much we've got saved in our pension. And I think this is what is key, talking about it more and talking about it in a way that makes people think, oh, I should go and check whether I'm maxing out my employer contribution limit. So having those conversations and reframing retirement in a way that is exciting and makes us want to take action is key.
It all starts with a conversation, doesn't it? I think that's the very first step. So if somebody's watching this and really isn't sure what to do, it starts with a conversation, and then who knows where it might go from there.
Definitely, agreed.
There will be somebody in your circle somewhere who's got a relative bit of experience about financial matters. Just go and have a chat to them. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for joining us today. I've definitely enjoyed the conversation, talking about how we can really bring to life M&G's Reframing Retirement campaign and the pensions health check that we're looking to introduce. Let's continue the conversation as much as we possibly can. Thanks both.
Thank you.